Let us begin with the very heart and substance of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Nabi Muhammad ﷺ followed his father Ibrahim. ثُمَّ أَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْكَ, says the Quran. And then we revealed to thee, O Muhammad, alayhi salatu wassalam, أَنِ اتَّبِعْ مِلَّةَ أَبِيكُمْ Ibrahim, that you also must follow the religion of your father Abraham. وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, and there is no shirk in that religion. And so the first sunnah of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is to avoid shirk. This is the foundation of the sunnah of Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, to avoid shirk. But he warned before he died. He warned that the time will come when we will be attacked by shirk. And it will be very difficult for us to recognize the shirk. Shirk is not only to worship other than Allah, to worship 2 and 3 and 4 gods. Shirk is not only to worship gods and goddesses. Shirk is not only to worship idols. Shirk is also to play God. Like he played Mass, he played God. And no one playing Satan. Shirk is also to attempt to take over from Allah. And assume for yourself the functions of Allah. He said shirk will one day attack you. But it will be difficult to recognize it. How difficult? As difficult as it would be to recognize a black ant on a black stone on a dark night. That's how difficult it will be. Who can recognize a black ant on a black stone on a dark night? You could have a PhD from UWI. It makes no difference. The only one who can recognize a black ant on a black stone on a dark night is the one who have light to see. But this light doesn't come from a torchlight. This light comes from Allah, called Noor. And only if Allah gives Noor to you, only then will you be able to see. Otherwise, you have eyes but you can't see. You have ears but you can't hear. You have hearts but you don't understand. You're just like cattle, says the Quran. Are we living today in a world in which we are enveloped by shirk all around? In which we have been embraced by shirk everywhere? And we are in shirk and yet singing qasida in praise of the Prophet ﷺ. That's the question I ask. Well, let us begin with salat. You cannot perform salat without saying Allahu Akbar every time you move. Every time you move, you have to say Allahu Akbar. Huh? Can you perform salat without saying Allahu Akbar? No. What does Allahu Akbar mean? Huh? Allahu Akbar means Allah is supreme. Allah is sovereign. Allah is supreme. Allah's authority is supreme authority. Allah's law is supreme law. That is Allahu Akbar. If you recognize someone else as sovereign, other than Allah, that is shirk. If you recognize someone else's authority as supreme over Allah's authority, that is shirk. If you recognize someone's law as supreme law over Allah's law, that is shirk. Anyone is free to challenge me at any time, stop me and challenge me. Yes, because this lecture is being delivered for generations to come. So challenge me if I'm wrong. And so we established Allah's sovereignty as Muslims. Whenever we took control of a land, we made Allah Akbar in that land, that Allah was recognized as Akbar in that land, wherever we took control of territory. So Allah was sovereign in that land. And Allah's authority was supreme in that land. And Allah's law was the supreme law in that land. And that land was called Darul Islam. And we appointed a leader who was called a Khalifa. In English, Caliph. He's also known as Amirul Mu'mineen, the leader of the believers. He was also called the Imam. 3 titles: Khalifa, Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam. And that state was called the Khilafah. And in that model of a state, Allah's sovereignty was recognized. Allah's supreme authority was recognized. Allah's law was recognized as supreme law. And Allah's law was enforced. Is Allah recognized as Al-Akbar anywhere on the earth today? No. Not even 1 square inch of Allah's earth today recognizes Allah as Al-Akbar. Not even 1 square inch. Does anyone lose any sleep over that? Does anyone weep over that? Do any tears fall from the eyes over that? That Allah is not recognized as Al-Akbar in even 1 square inch of the earth today? No? We sing in Qasida. The Khilafat was destroyed in 1924. By whom? By those who came before us, the Jews and the Christians. A particular part of the Jewish and Christian world which was white. Euro-Christian and Euro-Jewish. They destroyed the Khilafah. And if you want to read the story of how the Khilafah was destroyed, I have written the history. It is downstairs in my book. But I found about my Muslim people in Trinidad, they hardly ever read. I travel around the world, and I find Muslims around the world thirsty for knowledge, hungry to read, pursuing me wherever I go for knowledge. But my own people, I have found them needing a wake-up call. We don't know how to get them to read. We have 4 books for you downstairs today. 4, which are free of charge. If you already have it, don't take another copy. But if you have not had a copy, go downstairs and get one out of it. 4 books which are free of charge for you to read tonight.